Duchess of Cornwall takes starring role in puppet show 0140 in the telling of a traditional love story featuring a princess. It was quite the casting coup. The Duchess of Cornwall happily took the starring role in an impromptu shadow puppet show, as she showed off her skills in a short play. Wielding a shadow puppet of her own, she gamely moved its limbs as a cast of three told the story of a princess kidnapped by an ogre and saved by heroic monkey warriors. The Duchess was visiting the Teochew Puppet and Opera House, which aims to preserve traditional skills from its home in Penang, Malaysia. Greeted by Ling Go, founder and director of museum, and assistant director Chai Lin, the Duchess posed for a photograph with the ladies in traditional dress. The Duchess of Cornwall with a puppet used during performances at the Teochew Puppet and Opera House in Penang, Malaysia. Credit Tim Rigger's Shutterstock. Moving inside, she was shown instruments including cymbals and drums, asking how they were made. Told Ling Glh's family had been puppeteers for 5 generations, she exclaimed, "It's a family affair." Camilla poses with women in traditional dress at the Teochew Puppet and Opera House. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. Directed to a table, she was shown shadow puppets and, when invited, picked one up to see how it worked. Pauline Fan, creative director of cultural organization Pusaka, explained that the story had been adapted from the Ramayana, ancient Indian folktale Rama and Sita. Camilla was visiting the Teochew Puppet and Opera House in Penang. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. The Malaysian version tells the story of a princess, played by the Duchess puppet, who is kidnapped by an ogre king. Instructed by her beloved, she is eventually saved by an army of monkey warriors. The Duchess appeared to thoroughly enjoy herself, gamely moving the puppet's arms to play along. Camilla looks to be enjoying herself as she moves the puppets. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. She then moved to listen to a yanquing instrument being played and admire ornate opera headdresses, before sitting down to take in a puppet show from the professionals. Afterwards, she was given a second try at joining in, this time with a stringed puppet. Successfully manipulating its limbs with the string, she appeared pleased and surprised, telling onlookers, "I could have been a puppeteer." The Duchess of Cornwall with performers at the Teochew Puppet and Opera House. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. The Duchess later moved to the cool shade of the China House Cafe, a favorite Penang haunt for visitors including Julie Walters, who became a regular while filming Indian summers in the region. She was shown the cafe's extraordinary selection of around 40 different cakes, before sitting down with local craftswomen to learn about their skill. Pulling up a chair next to Lillian Tong, director of the Penang Peranakan Mansion, the Duchess watched as they deftly embroidered a beaded pattern in a frame. Camilla tries her hand at embroidery on her visit to China House in Georgetown, Penang. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. "It's very good," she said. "So impressive. My husband, the Prince of Wales, started a school for traditional arts and now it's scattered in different countries. I hope they'll have it here because it conserves their traditions. It's so lovely to see this lovely work still being done. Particularly taken with a pair of tiny embroidered slipper-like shoes," she told Mrs. Tong. "I love beadwork. I always have it on my clothes. It's a great favorite of mine." Camilla takes part in the traditional puppet show. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. Offered the chance to do some sewing of her own, she tried to do a tentative stitch before apologizing for forgetting her glasses. "I'm sorry I don't have my glasses, but even if I did have them, I'm not a very good sewer," she said. The Duchess also tried her hand at batik painting, creating the beginning of a blue flower while she asked about the colored ink artists were using. As her husband embarked his own program of events focused on heritage and the environment, she took a moment to pause for a cup of tea at China House before an evening reception. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall and Prince Charles at the Sri Mahamariamman Temple. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. Earlier, the royal couple walked the Street of Harmony in Penang, where they spent time at 4 religious houses and joined in with some of their traditions. They included St. George Church, the oldest Anglican church in Southeast Asia, a Muslim mosque where they met leaders and planted a tree, a Teochew temple where they watched a colorful lion dance, and a Hindu temple where they were adorned with garlands and shawls woven with gold and thread. The visit was intended to show the religious diversity of Malaysia, showing how different faiths can live in peace and prosperity. The Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall during a visit to Hanjong Temple. Credit Yui Mok Be. The half-a-mile road known as the Street of Harmony. It reflects the migrant communities which moved to Penang during the British administration when it was a bustling trading port. The visit, undertaken at a humid 28°C, saw the prince keep cool in a linen suit while the Duchess wore a tunic, loose trousers and parasol. She adorned a headscarf to enter the Kapitan Keling Mosque to meet an elder imam and admire the architecture. Camilla arrives at the Kapitan Keling Mosque. Credit Chris Jackson Getty. It was once suggested that the prince hoped to be defender of faith when king, reflecting his wish to celebrate and promote religious tolerance. In 2015, it was confirmed he would stick to the name of Defender of the Faith, when he eventually becomes head of the Church of England in a tradition dating back to Henry VIII. The Prince and Duchess first stopped at the church, which dates back to 1818 and was all but destroyed by the Japanese in December 1941. The Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall, accompanied by Bishop Charles Samuel, credit Yui but many of the treasures inside were looted, including a baptism font made from local marble that had been in the church. It was discovered 30 years later on a rubbish tip in nearby Butterworth, slightly chipped but still intact, and is now back at its original home and used every week for baptisms. In 2007, St. George Church underwent a major restoration and was subsequently declared one of the 50 national treasures of Malaysia. The Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall, during a visit to St. George Church, the oldest Anglican church in Southeast Asia, credit Yui a memorial pavilion was erected in 1886 in memory of Captain Francis Light, founder of Penang, which the couple explored before they left. At their second visit, they were greeted by small children with colorful dress and flowers at the mosque before taking their shoes off to go inside. Speaking to the oldest surviving imam, the Prince and Duchess learned about the history of the mosque, stepping outside to meet local Muslims and ceremonially plant an olive tree. Prince Charles and Camilla's tour of Asia Gallery puff at the third venue, Han Zhang Ancestral Temple. The Prince and Duchess were charmed by a colorful and noisy lion dance, later posing with them for a photograph. The temple is dedicated to the Taoist god of the north and is still used today to honor the ancestors of the clan, winning the UNESCO Asia-Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation after a 2005 restoration. At Sri Mahamariamman Temple, the Prince and Duchess were taken on a procession led by a drummer, to see the brightly colored building, flowers and statues of gods in all their glory. Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, honored with garlands made of sandalwood. They waved to the crowds before taking their leave. Pravina Balakrishnan, a local historian, said, "We wanted to have a fragrant garland, so we chose sandalwood. Flower garlands will fade and die. The silk shawls are given to kings and queens, and we believe silk has the power to attract positive vibes."